Today is a special day at the Dean Smith Center. The Dean Dome should be rocking. Fans will be treated to a look back at the storied history of college basketball here on Tobacco Road. And it's back to the future, because today the Tar Heels host the Wake Forest Demon Deacons in a conference matchup on this pivotal weekend of Atlantic Coast Conference action. We are in Chapel Hill, North Carolina for this ACC Saturday as we steamroll toward tournament time. Every game now critical. Well, a big day here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. You're looking at some of the players from the championship teams, 1957 and 1982. Chick-fil-A nugget of the game during UNC's 82 run. They lost only to Wake Forest in Virginia.
And that was an unranked Wake Forest team in Carmichael.
Well, Virginia, of course, had Sampson in 82. During that timeout, there's Lenny Rosenbluth being recognized by the sold-out crowd here. Lenny Rosenbluth, 1957 National Player of the Year, one of only 7 to have his jersey retired here at North Carolina. There it is, number 10.
And he's been back frequently, Tom. I've done a lot of games here this year, and he's been at least 5 or 6 that I've been to, so he does come back on a regular basis. But this obviously a very special day for a couple of special teams.
Well, it's a big day here. Carolina honoring its 1957 title team with Lenny Rosenbluth. And look at those letter sweaters. Mike Jaminski still has his from Duke that looks very similar. We'll have that entire ceremony coming up at halftime here at the Dean Dome. Welcome back inside the Dean Dome. The celebration continues as the reunion in Dean Dome is something special here today with the champions of 1957 and the champions of 1982 here. Well, this is some kind of special to be a part of this today. Tim Brand, Mike Jaminski. Mike, you remember some of these guys, and certainly we all know the legends.
No question about it. You know, the 57 team, all the adversity, to have a perfect season, almost unparalleled. And people forget that they had 2 triple overtime games in the semifinals and the finals, so overcoming a lot there. And, of course, the 82 team, Coach Smith's first national championship after a lot of trips to the Final Four, and great players. Of course, number 23 stepping up big in that game. I had a chance to talk with Coach Smith beforehand, and very excited about this day, and he's still a very big part of this program and spends a lot of time around here.
You always think of North Carolina as being a class program, and certainly their success has been well documented. But when you look at the reception that these players have gotten and how great not only the reception by the fans, but the players seem to appreciate it so much.
Well, and I think it's important that for every institution that the players who are there now have a sense of the history of the program. And it's easy, maybe a little too easy to do with this program, but it always helps, I think, to reflect back. And I think it shows the players who are here now the legacy that they have to carry on.
Frank McGuire, New Yorker, brought down the New Yorkers to win that championship in 1957, and they beat Wilt Chamberlain to do it. We'll talk more about 57 and 82 when we come back. Halftime at the Dean Dome. Here in the Dean Dome, the players from 1982 are watching the highlights of their season, a memorable season. And I believe I saw some tears in Michael Jordan's eyes.
For him to come back, very special. And, of course, it's the errant pass at the end, but James Worthy making that play. And seem a little older, a little heavier, but aren't we all right now? But still enjoying the moment.
They're laughing at themselves, watching the highlight. And, of course, the throwaway and the tie in the knot in the national championship game. And there's the banner.
Ladies and gentlemen, the managers on that 1982 team, David Daly, Chuck Duckett, David and Ralph Meekins. The trainer was Skate, Mark Davis. Assistant coaches included Bill Guthridge, Eddie Fogler, and Roy Williams, who is in the locker room right now with his team. The only players who could not be here today, Matt Doherty, whose SMU Mustangs has a game tonight in Dallas against Rice. And Cecil Exum, who lives in Victoria, Australia. The players who are here today, Jeb Barlow. Starting point guard, Jimmy Black. Jim Braddock, John Brownlee, Chris Brust, Timo Makinen, Warren Martin, Buzz Peterson, Linwood Robinson, Dean Schaffer, Sam Perkins, Big Game James Worthy, and Michael Jordan. And the best basketball coach there ever was, Dean Smith.
And with that, they're on their feet. Prior to the game, they dedicated the locker room and called it Bill Guthridge Locker Room. And now the entire team being celebrated here in the Dean Smith Center. It doesn't get much better than this, folks. 1957, 1982 will be remembered here like it was yesterday. Legends and memories. We'll be back. We're joined by one of those heroes, one of those legends here at Carolina. Buzz Peterson, what a day, huh?
Oh, what a special day to see a lot of your teammates. And how about that 57 team undefeated? So, special weekend for our ball club and our university.
I was saying to Mike during the ceremonies how much the fans enjoyed it, but it looked just as much as if the players were enjoying it.
We've had a blast telling some old stories in the back there. So, we got together last night, having a deal tonight I'll miss because we got a game down at High Point at 7 o'clock we have to get to. But just reminiscing and catching up with some old stories.
Buzz, when you guys were playing and getting in, starting that march in '82, were you aware of the 57 team and what they had accomplished and all those guys in the history?
Yeah, we were aware of it, but I wasn't aware until Jimmy Black would have a lot of meetings about some of the pressure that was on Coach Smith a little bit, because he kept saying, let's win it for Coach, let's win it for Coach, and we were determined to win it for him, and just by James Worthy's playing the championship down in New Orleans, he was unbelievable.
Well, Buzz, congratulations to you. Always fun to watch
Thank
you
you
play.
very much.
Good luck the rest of the day.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be back. There's Michael Jordan's roommate saying so long. We'll be back. Talked a lot about that road to the championship in 1982. A lot of people forget they almost didn't get out of that first game. James Madison, 52-50 was the final, and then, of course, the closest game of them all, the national championship game, 63-62, and the throwaway.
And right now you talk about the 100 years, and Michael Jordan right there hitting the shot at the end of the game to give him that winning margin.
Timeout on the floor. We'll take one as well. What a day this has been and continues to be at the Dean Dome. Lenny Rosenbluth in 1957 was the National Player of the Year. The Tar Heels win 32-0. And Lenny is one of only 7 to have his jersey retired in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. ACC champions, national champions, and we are now joined by Lenny. Lenny, what a great day this has been, huh?
This has been tremendous. Can you imagine 50 years ago we won and the crowd reacts this way? I think only at UNC basketball and the entire basketball family as it represents is so great.
Lenny, I want to ask you this. When Frank McGuire said, hey, come on, we're going to school down in North Carolina from New York, what'd you say?
I was following Coach McGuire no matter where he went. If he went to Alaska, I would have gone with him to Alaska. He's just that kind of a man.
Does it seem like yesterday for you?
When we get together, we start talking about the games. It seems like yesterday we playing the game against Kansas.
What were your memories of Wilt Chamberlain and that game against Kansas?
Well, everybody's memory, I guess, is Tommy Kearns jumping center against Wilt. Wilt looking down and wondering what in the world is going on. But the Kansas game, Coach McGuire went right down the road with us. Are you afraid of Chamberlain. Are you afraid of Chamberlain? No, coach, we're not afraid of Chamberlain. They just said, basically, that Kansas cannot beat us, but Chamberlain can. So we just surrounded Chamberlain. And years later, Wilt had a chance to talk to Wilt, and Wilt said, you know, I felt like I was in a covered wagon, and the Indians were circling me all the time. That's what we did against it.
Len, I'm just curious, your impressions of this year's North Carolina team and what their chances are of maybe getting remembered 25 years from now.
Well, I tell you, they're so deep. If they ever put a whole game together like they do